So if you're thinking about joining a network, let me first say that it's not an easy task. I would suggest that unless you're an experienced image sysop, that you have your board up and running for quite some time and be familiar with how it operates before you decide to join a network. That being said, if you still decide that you want to join a network, you'll need to find one of the nodes that's in an existing network and contact the sysop and see if he's willing to accept you as another connection. And with that in mind, we'll continue. In this video, I'll be explaining how to join a network. Now, the first thing you'll want to do is find a network to join and find a board that's already in that network to sponsor you. The easiest way to do that is to log on to one of the boards that's in the network and look at their network map and see which boards have connections still available to accept new connections to. Once you've found a node in the network that you wish to join, you need to log on to node 1 and apply for a node in the network. For the purpose of demonstration, I'm going to use the NISA network as the network that I wish to join. I'm going to show you how to log on at node 1 and apply for a node in the network. And then I'm going to show you how to check to see if you're approved and what to do afterwards. So here I am at the Image 3.0 idle screen in the system that I've been using for all the previous videos. I'm going to go into Image Term and use it for logging on to Commodore Image BBS, which is node 1 of the NISA network. First thing I'm going to do is go into DOS options and view the disk directory on my email drive, which is 8,3. Now notice there's not much on there, just the nm.times file and a mail file. Next I'm going to go into terminal mode, type ATE1, and then atdtcibdns.org:6400. Hit return, and I'm now connecting to Commodore Image BBS. Go ahead and log in, and then I'm going to pause the recording until I get to the prompt for joining the network. Now, if you're in the graphics menu, what you're going to want to do is cursor down to the join network position and hit return. Right there, the join network. But if you're not using graphic menus in your account, just enter NET at the main prompt. This will take you to the NISA network node application and ask you if you wish to apply. You'll answer yes, and then fill out the information for your application. The application will want to know the name of your BBS, the URL that your BBS is running on, the telnet port. You want to enter your sysop handle, your real name, if your board is running on a Commodore 64, answer yes. If not, answer no. If it's running in WinVice, answer yes. Enter the city that you're running from. state and the zip. BBS serial number, if you're running image 2.0 or 3.0, just enter none. The network password that you're going to use for your board, and what type of drive it's running on. Enter the baud rate, and the net sponsor. This is the board that you're going to connect to. This will be your link. These next questions asking if you're Y2K compliant, if you're running turbo rails. Image 3.0 already has those automatically configured. So you can just answer yes to those two questions, and then enter in a contact phone number in case I need to get in touch with you to work out any details with your network application. When all that's done, it'll bring up what you've just entered. You'll be asked if it's correct. Enter yes if everything is correct, otherwise enter no or abort. Now we're going to fast forward a couple of days, and then it's been a few days since you've applied to join the network, and you call back into Commodore Image and you have a netmail. You have an email waiting for you in your inbox, and the email will explain that your network application has been approved, what node number you've been assigned, and it'll ask you to go to the UD section and download some files. So the email that we just read said to go to the ImageNess and Support SIG, Files to Join Network, and download the following files: nmcreate, nmmap, nmmap80, readme/net, readme/netsubs, and one more, the CIB netsub list. I'm going to use the add function, and since I don't remember where it's located, I'm going to just start at number 35 and select no until I find the one that I want to download. There it is, number 39. Yes. Now I'm going to press S for start. Download. I'm going to auto log off when the file's completed. So now I use the Control Tab key and select number 9 to do a multi-puncher download. The download is going to start. And you see the download has begun, so we're going to just stop the video at this point and assume that all the files downloaded properly. So if you remembered to set your download drive and image term to your email drive before you downloaded those files from Commodore Image, they should all be on your email drive. Check it, and if they're not there, find out where they downloaded to and copy those files to the email drive. So I've already logged on to my board in local mode, and I'm sitting at the main prompt, and I want to go into turbo mode off. So enter the ATM command and select 1 for off. Next, enter the RF command to go into the file reader. I'm going to enter D to do a disk directory for device drive 2, which is the mail drive. And notice that all the files that I downloaded are on my mail drive. Next, I want to do the sequential file reader and read the file readme/net. If you look at the table of contents, joining a network is part 4 of this document. Now, this document was originally written in 1990 when the Image 1.2 network first came out. So a lot of what you read in this file is going to pertain to the way the system used to run, but much of it is still applicable today, so it should make enough sense to where you can configure your network. Now, this document not only explains how to join a network, but it also explains how to create a network. My next video for 3.0 is going to be how to create a network. This document might come in handy if you read it to see how it was done for 1.2. It might help to configure the board for a 3.0 network. The concept is the same, the files are pretty much the same, just in a different file name and different format. The next file I want to read is readme net subs. Now, this will come in handy later on when you go into creating the net subs that you're going to exchange with the links that you're networked to. For now, just browse through it and save it for later as a reference. The next file is a list of net subs that are currently carried in the NISA network. And you have on the left are the net sub IDs, and on the right are the boards that they're linked to. If they're not linked to any boards, that means they're not currently active. But if you're joining the NISA network, these are the net subs that are available that you can choose from to be carried on your board. So now we're going to quit out of the file reader back to the main prompt. And I want to run the nm/config file with the run command, so I enter R. This is a class 3 program, so I enter 3. Enter the file name, device drive 5. Just hit return there. Now it's creating the nodes file, and it asks to enter the node number you were assigned. For demo purposes, I'm just going to use a node that's already assigned in the NISA network, node number 4. And at this point, I'm just going to hit return to exit out of this program. I entered IM to go into the configuration editor, and then M for netmail config. A for local info. Have to enter the password that we're using for the network. Now, this is not your sysup password. This is a different password that's only used for your board on the network. Enter the city and the state. B is modem specs. Enter number 1. Select 5 for 19.2. Enter the offhook command, number 2, ATH1. The onhook command, number 3, ATH0. Next is C, calling hours. Calling hours are explained in the readme/nets file. But for this demonstration, we're just going to use starting hour 1 a.m., ending hour 10:59 p.m. Next is E, edit your connections. Number 1, edit standard connections. Enter 1 for CIB. Now I have to enter the password for CIB. Remember, we had to exchange passwords between sysops and the net. So I'm going to enter his password there. For hours, we'll use 0. Let's edit number 3. And we'll just set every day of the week to be coincide with the hours that we set up for definition 0. And for calls per day, you notice if you enter plus sign there, it's infinite. I like to use 9 calls per day. That finishes this section. You can just hit return to get back to the menu, and now we're going to edit the forwarding. This is also explained in the README file, but you can set it up by entering the handle here, the handle there, the destination node, and it'll ask you if that's what you want to do. You can say yes. Now if you want to delete that, just enter D, enter 1 and delete it, and that'll be fine. Next, you have to configure the links to your net wall and net graffiti wall. So for the net wall, enter 1, enter, in this case I entered CIB because that's who I'm linked to, and then for the graffiti wall, same thing. You can now exit out of this module back to the main configuration editor and exit out of that to the main prompt. So now let's enter IM again. Go to the configuration editor, go to the netmail config, look at connections, standard connections, and notice those up arrows in the unused connections are gone now, so that's a good thing. Exit out of that, exit out of that with the H clicked. And let's go to the light bar alarms, light bar defs. So now that we're networked, we're going to want to set the default light bar check mark for network to on. So enter 13 on page 2. We're going to quit and save changes. Next, we're going to use item C on the menu to set our netmail trigger times. The netmail trigger times are the times at which network maintenance runs on your board. You've got 24 items that you can set for netmail trigger times, and these are based on hours of the day. Most people will set them up to run once per hour, so all 24 items would get an entry. One thing you want to avoid is running your netmail triggers at the same time that your links are running their netmail triggers. So set yours up for a different time of the day so that both boards aren't calling each other at exactly the same time. Nobody will ever get through that way. So when you're done with setting up your netmail triggers, you can exit back to the main prompt. At this point, I'm going to log off of the console and back to the idle screen. I'm going to cursor over to the net position on the light bar. I'm going to use the F8 key to place a check mark on the right side of net. And if everything was set up properly in your configuration, the netmail maintenance program should run. We haven't created anything to send yet via netmail, so we're just watching this procedure to make sure it processes all the way through and resets back to the idle screen. So keep an eye on the right hand window down at the bottom, where right next to where it says mode. Every time we're changing a module that is being used in the netmail maintenance, you'll see the name of the module come up in that window. So it looks like everything worked okay. We came back to the idle screen. This was a successful setup of the network for this node. So in this lesson, other than setting up your network message boards, I think we've covered just about everything you need to know in order to connect to a network. I want to end this lesson with a demonstration of what a real network transfer actually looks like. What you're watching is my WinVice 1.3 system that I use for development of the Image 3.0 software. That system has an actual connection between it and Commodore Image BBS. The network software used in Image 2.0 and in Image 3.0 is basically the same software that we've been using in 1.2 since the beginning. All the networking software between Image 1.2, 2.0, and 3.0 is quite similar to each other. We did it that way in order to maintain compatibility between the different image versions, all still running in the network. So what I did on my WinVice 1.3 system is go into the email system and create a netmail to be sent from my 1.3 system to Commodore Image. So when network maintenance began, it looked for any files that were waiting to go out to CIB, and right now it's processing them and getting ready to send. As displayed on the screen in the left-hand box of the sysop screen, all network transfers in Image 3.0 are bidirectional, just like they are in 1.2 and also in 2.0. So when this board sends whatever messages it has out to the receiving board, it goes into another routine and waits to see if the board that it just called has any files to send back. If there are, then they're sent back on the same call, and after the two boards disconnect from each other, this board will go into network maintenance and to process any files that it may have received. The next video that I do will be an explanation of how to set up a network in Image 3.0. In that video, I'll explain how to set up your net subs and link them to the boards that you're connected with. So that's all I've got to talk about for this lesson. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope it was helpful. We're always looking to expand the network. So if you've got an image BBS online and you feel like you'd like to join the network, please don't hesitate to follow the procedures in this video and get started.